Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from Parts Sun. I'm once again simulcasting on Rumble and U-Tizzle, and I hope you all are having a great evening. We're going to be talking about this open rank fraud that's been going on. What's typically known as open and notorious, okay? Those are legal terms that are used in certain situations, but it's open and notorious fraud. So anyway, Donald Trump gave an interview today. Last night. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of other things. So what do I do while people are coming in? I play my videos, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And then that'll give you time to get yourself a cup of coffee, or it's still eggnog season officially, I believe, until at least New Year's. So get you one of those with maybe a little dose of bourbon in there and maybe a cold brew high, whatever you want. And then we'll be like butter and get on a roll.
The last 11 months have been the most successful 11 months in the history of the American presidency. Think about what President Trump inherited and what we have today. We just got a blockbuster 4.3% economic growth report for Q3, for the third quarter today, smashing expectations, fueled by rising consumer demand, and here's a key word, American exports. Our whole lives, all we've had are imports. Imports from Asia, imports from Mexico, imports from Canada. Now we're an exporting powerhouse. Energy prices are down. Gas prices have been cut by almost 50%. We're an energy superpower. We're a manufacturing superpower. And also, very importantly, we are a technology superpower. After years of watching other countries invent the new technologies, beat us in 5G, under President Trump, we have a revolution in quantum computing, artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, and we're bringing the semiconductor industry back to the United States. A technology superpower, a manufacturing superpower, and most importantly of all, a military superpower. You saw the announcement today about the Golden Dome, the Golden Fleet, the next generation of battleships, or the announcement yesterday, about how the president is making the American military the dominant, overwhelming, lethal force of the 21st century. The border is slammed shut, crime is plummeting, illegals are going home, and America is for Americans again. You could not ask for a better Christmas list than that, Charlie.
I am the captain now. The storm's on.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
I think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies,
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Nice to see you tonight. I hope you all are doing well. I want to put up a picture while I'm talking. Let's see. I got a good one I wanted to put up the other night. I'll put it up tonight. Here we go. There we go. Ha ha, Thomas Sowell. I like him. I got that from Stoicism Daily. But anyway, now my studio doesn't want to cooperate with me as far as taking a picture down. That's okay. I will keep trying. There we go. Oh, my goodness. There we go. Technical difficulties, but that's okay. Let's see who came in to see me tonight. Who came by to see me tonight? Sissy, Robin, Michelle, Linda, Sherry, Randy, Wayne's giving me thumbs up. Thank you, Wayne. Mountain, Todd. Ha-ha, Rebecca's here, Debbie's here, Jetlag's here, Gary, ha-ha, he's here. All right, Lori's here, Anthrax Flannel Cheese is here. Thank you for putting that in there. My memory can't handle that. Hi, Ann, nice to see you. Sandman, nice to see you. Kim's here. Let's see. He jumped around on me. Yes, they unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person. Let's see. Miss Mindersue. Ha, ha, ha. How you doing, Miss Mindersue? Nice to see you. All right. Who did I miss anybody? Max here. Nice to see you. So anyway, folks, we're going to talk about a timeline. And there's a lot of moving parts. The Insurrection Act is definitely in the deck, okay? But how far have we gone down in the deck of cards? And we have a shutdown looming, January 30th, the end of this coming month. All of these things play into the equation. Darla, nice to see you. Rubber Toe, nice to see you. So keep that in mind. You know, if we got panicins hollering for immediate arrests, a complete social upheaval and disruption of our constitutional process, please understand that that is not, and as I have been saying for years, not what is best for our country. We do not want to irrevocably divide this country. Not only divide it, but shatter it now that we've got so many different factions of people. We need to build unity. Success brings unity and also clarity, okay? Transparency and clarity. And that's what we're working on now. This is my thumbnail. It goes right to the top. I suspect they'll get caught. I'll play a... says those very words, or at least something extremely close to it. And we have ongoing arrests in Minnesota. We have we gotten word from Homeland Security that arrests are ongoing. Here you go. This was kind of a recent tweet. U.S. Department of Justice. I mean, we have charged 98 individuals in relation to fraud in Minnesota. More than 60 have pled guilty or been convicted. More to come. Minnesota fraud. This is from Attorney General Pam Bondi, who Donald Trump also alluded to during his interview, and Kash Patel. Nick Shirley's work has helped show Americans the scale of fraud in Tim Walsh's Minnesota. So it's undeniable. It's open and notorious. Did you know there's certain circumstances where you can acquire property by what's called adverse possession? You don't own it. You never knew who owned it. But depending on the state, if you occupy that property, a field, a lot, I don't know, maybe a dwelling, for a certain period of time, and you do it where you're hostile, open, and notorious, you're occupying it in that manner for a certain period of time, it's called adverse possession. You become the owner. So I'm just saying where the term open and notorious is used in legal terms, but this fraud is open and notorious. Notorious meaning everybody knows about it. Now, there's another term. It's called sitting on your latches. If you know something is being done wrong and you don't do anything about it over a certain period of time, that's a French term going way back called sitting on your latches. It'll be like, well, that's the accepted way of life. Not saying we're anywhere near this with the fraud stuff, but we can't continue to ignore it. And there has to be consequences now that they have been outed. Actually, they were doing it right under our noses. So this media, who are they working for? Who are these networks working for that are publicly owned? Airwaves. I'll focus on them. I know there's plenty of others. I've talked about them many times. So who are they working for? They're totally ignoring it, and they're highlighting a narrative. And many narratives, the first one being that Donald Trump is illegitimate and a puppet of Russia and a threat to our democracy, and on and on. And coming in a close second or third is that the Supreme Court has been corrupted and our rule of law is being threatened, all of which are part of the narrative hoaxes that are constantly being played on the American people in a decades-long illegal psychological warfare campaign. So, that's just all off the top of my old peanut head. And, all right, Miss Mendersue's making dinner. Ha, ha, ha. I'm sure it's something good. Let's see. Who snuck in here while I was, I'll play the interview, but I will give a few spoilers. Trump says, I have a right to be involved in prosecutions because I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. He uses that term. How many times have you heard me say that? But that leads me to think of on a timeline. We're going to see progress. We're going to see pain, Pain, and we're not going to feel it. The people like what you see on the screen, all the people for decades that have been involved, all the people that have been playing along, they're the ones that are going to feel the pain. And it's going to march to a resolution, and we will see justice. I put in my title, we are on the road to retribution. Okay? This is not going to be a lightning bolt like Satan falling from the heavens. This is going to be a road. Okay? And the final destination will be retribution. So it's been a long road. But you have to understand that many millions of Americans are just now joining us on this road. Okay. And also, how this is handled will affect for generations the psyche of the American people, the culture of this nation, and also world perception. World perception on what government is supposed to do, what justice looks like, and how a civilized nation picks itself up, it dusts itself off, and starts all over again, because that's what we're doing. We're restoring the republic. Are we going to do it with brutality? Are we going to do it with millions of people in the dark? Hundreds of millions? Fear, anger, battles in the streets? I'm sure that will happen to some degree, but we have a duty to mitigate it as much as possible. And we're getting there. We're making huge strides. So anyway, with that in mind, is Roland in here looking for women? Yeah, there he is. I see Lori was talking about her cooking. Hi, Mark. How you doing? And I said, oh, it's got to be Roland after somebody for their cooking. Probably a little bit more than that too. I don't know. It's not my business. But anyway, so I got a couple of clips that show that there is a shift in the media. Walsh announces $8 billion grant to Somali company to investigate fraud. Like I say, we handle our trials and tribulations with humor, and that is a good thing to some degree. But anyway, Walsh is under fire. Here we go again with Tim Walsh. How many times we got to see this dopey WAWD, weetard face, okay? Remember I told you that one girl called me a weetard? Minnesota loses federal funding. From Newsmax, federal funding freeze. The U.S. Small Business Administration is freezing more than $5.5 million. Plink. What was that sound? Plink. A drop in the bucket, but better than nothing. In federal funding to Minnesota for widespread fraud and a breakdown in oversight under Democrat Governor Tim Walsh. Remember, this has been going on for decades. Decades. Here we go. A little more to levity. A creator, and he's got his play this. Busting a fake daycare. Did you know that Nick Shirley gotten a couple of hours ago, I read over 100 million views. 100 million views, and I'm sure by now it's way over that. It's snowballing.
Okay, here we are at another daycare center, Somali. It says daycare center for little cruds. I think they meant kids. Hi there.
Hello?
Hi. Where are the cruds?
No cruds here.
I think you meant kids.
Kids, kids. Yes, kids, many kids.
Yeah, where are the kids?
200,000 kids here, yes.
You're taking $5 million a year.
Okay, I'll get one.
Okay, go get them.
Yes, here is a crud. Okay, many more cruds. Okay, go away.
Let's call the number on.
Hi, you've reached Tim Waltz. I'm not in right now, but my tampon is. Leave a message.
You're a retard. All right, on to the next one.
Oh, I can't play that music. Hold on. Stop it. I'm going to get a daggone copyright strike. Anyway, hopefully I talked over to good enough. Tyler Fisher's his name. But anyway, he played a little joke there. And I say spread it around, okay? I saw somebody say something about Mike Lindell. Yeah, he's going to be running for governor. And I tell you what, Jack Posobiec put up a couple of a screenshot of their text messages. Would you change the Minnesota flag? He says, I'm way ahead of you, Jack. So there he is. He's going to change the Minnesota flag back. Who knows what they made it look like? I think they made it look like a Somali flag. But anyway, then there's another text from Jack Posobiec to Mike Lindell. Mike, this Somali fraud thing is going really big right now. Can I tell people online that if you are elected, you will shut it down? For sure. Walsh, Omar, and Keith Ellison all in prison. Let's remember those names. Walsh, Omar, and Keith Ellison all in prison. And I'm taking down the satanic statue at the Capitol. Jack, it's way worse than anyone is hearing. Yes, we know that. We do know that. And hopefully he will help bring light to that. Wow, I had some oddball things go into my my feed. But anyway, here's a clip. It does, yeah, I thought this was odd. I guess the Department of Homeland Security put this up. They're not going in a daycare. They're going, it looks to me like a convenience store. Homeland Security Investigations, I believe that's what HSI means. What you all think? Are they going in some kind of vape shop or what are they doing? And the lady they're talking to, I can't really hear what she's saying, but I'll play the clip.
Yesterday I was working in Jordan. I go around, so yesterday I was not here. Okay. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I don't know. She didn't sound Somali, but maybe she married her husband. I don't know. Who knows? But they're going around and investigating stuff. So a lot of people are very nervous right now. I'm not one of them. Yeah, you're right, Mountain, about the judges. You know, I saw an article about Bukele when he went in there to El Salvador. He cleaned out the judges. Now, how did he do that? You know, the news didn't report anything. The regular news didn't report anything about Bukele turning that country around. And you know he had to get corrupt judges out to do it. And I believe that's one of the big things that are going to happen, that people aren't really warm to yet. They really don't realize that that's a keystone that's going to have to be taken care of. These corrupt judges. But anyway, I started the video off with Stephen Miller, if you all want to go back after the broadcast and watch it. But he also put out a post that said a young man who watched the Wright brothers take flight lived to watch American astronauts stroll on the moon. So why doesn't the modern world look like our ancestors imagined it? Because America and the West spent subsequent generations engaged in a vast consuming project of self-loathing, self-denigration, and the redistribution of our national resources to the states and peoples of the undeveloped world. It's a nice way of saying a bunch of savages. But yeah, we have got generations of people that don't know their, their ass from third base, okay? And I don't know how we're going to straighten it out, but there is a level of natural recognition of right and wrong that is going to, hi, Pappy Two Bears, that'll assist us in this. People know when they're getting screwed. But we've got a couple of generations of people who've gotten a very subpar education and have been really brutalized psychologically by this warfare campaign. And, we've got to have some kind of a way to counteract that and help the nation heal. But anyway, I want to play this clip of... this is one of the clips where I think it shows. I'll start with the CNN one. That's some of these outlets are being, I will say, cajoled, okay? Well, probably really forced into putting people with a rational view. This is CBS. I'm sorry. This is CBS. This is where there's a legal analyst talking about the narrative about that narrative is harmful to our country. And what's that woman's name in the green dress on the right? I forget. But anyway, I don't think they have the intellectual depth to grasp what she's saying. Some of these people are true believers, Marxists that are driven, and some people are just idiots, okay? And they will parrot whatever they're given, and they don't really have a cognitive understanding of what they're saying. But anyway, I'll go ahead and play it. But it's this kind of talk needs to get out to people who watch CBS, American airwaves that they have control over.
A narrative that the Supreme Court is corrupt. I mean, we saw that emerge in the wake of the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. And now we see it that they're in the tank for Trump. Not only is that narrative over-reported, it is patently false, and it is dangerous for the institution and the public's faith and confidence in the rule of law. This is a conservative Supreme Court. It has been a conservative Supreme Court for 20 years. People can disagree and do disagree with their opinions, but it's profoundly wrong to call it or say corruption where there, in fact, is none. What's underreported is any understanding of what this court's been doing for the past 20 years, its views of its role vis-a-vis the other branches, how it sees the law, how it's trying in its focus to restore some kind of accountability in our constitutional structure. Again, this is a court that is functional. It is consistent. They are 9 justices. They don't necessarily see the Constitution the same way by any means, or how to interpret federal law. They're in a struggle over the proper way to interpret the Constitution, but that is as it should be. And I think as we approach our 250th anniversary of this country, it's important to think about the court and the rule of law as the justices are doing, especially if we hope to keep democracy intact.
That's a big statement, Jan, if we hope to keep democracy intact.
If the public loses confidence in the rule of law, I don't know what that means for democracy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think some of the rhetoric about corruption is so profoundly irresponsible.
Profoundly irresponsible. The rhetoric. And yes, it was Margaret Brennan is their name. You're right. Let me see. I saw the name. Sparky, yeah, thank you. Margaret Brennan. I wonder if she's any relationship to that other notoriously bad person with the last name of Brennan. But anyway, she didn't even know how to respond. She's being told plump and plain right there that they're attacking the dignity of our institutions with falsehoods. That's the way I would have put it. And insinuating in some way that Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, other conservative judges are somehow acting in a criminal manner. They should not be able to use our airwaves to put that kind of propaganda across. And for nothing, they pay nothing, and they have no vetting. They have no standards. They have no standards of practice. No watchdog group to look over them. They do what they want when the hell they want, and they damage our country. So anyway, she got a long time to sit there and talk uninterrupted, and they did not have any canned response. And now this is a CNN clip where they're showing, okay, I don't know what she's wearing. I don't know. Maybe she's going to go out and do a jog afterwards. But anyway, I think we're starting to see which way the Republican Party is going to gel going into the end of this term for Trump and head off some of these challenges. I don't think Tulsi even wants to do it, but I don't trust Nikki Haley as far as I can throw her. But anyway, here's a poll about J.D. Vance. You know, if he can act, I don't think he needs to act. If he can maintain a mature, serious, but approachable affect, and show that he's on board with MAGA and that we can trust him, I think he's a walk-in. But anyway, I'll go ahead and play it.
First in the nation primary. I mean, take a look here. J.D. Vance at 51%. The next closest is Nikki Haley, who's at 9. I mean, what is that? That's 42 points ahead of the pack. Tulsi Gabbard is at 8. In the first in the nation primary, J.D. Vance, running 42 points ahead. There's a reason why he's such a heavy favorite in the prediction market so far, because if you win the GOP primary in New Hampshire, chances are you're going to be the Republican nominee for president.
Well, they're on there probably because they ran for president before. Tulsi with the Democrat Party when she raked Kamala over the coals during the debate. Do you all recall that? And Nikki Haley, I have very little trust in her. It's hard to believe that there's 9% of the Republicans that would want her in there. But as you can see, it said a 78% total. So there's another 22% with scattered allegiances. I don't know what they would be, but we got to have them all coalesce under somebody worthwhile. So now I have got another clip here that I think is important. They're trying to get rid of Fetterman, John Fetterman. I haven't seen posts lately, but I've seen many posts about him. We got to impeach Fetterman from the Democrats by this trash pail network. I got to put my headphones in because I want to hear what he's saying. But anyway, he was given a good bit of time on, I believe it's CNN. We'll see. There we go. I know my voice is going to change, but can you all hear me? Do I got a 5x5? So anyway, I'm going to play Fetterman. And they put a poison pill at the end of the interview that they know is his weak spot. But they cover ground where he comes across pretty strong. He does whip out somewhere toward the middle. Oh, okay, I got 5x5s. All right, good. This way I can hear him better if I want to comment while he goes on. This is CNN. And they're putting on at least I would say 80% rational, giving him all this airtime, and I think it's very important.
But clearly, we've lost the argument, and right now, I think it's entirely appropriate to really be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways. And I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire or whatever. That's just not true either, of course. But, you know, when I represent a state like Pennsylvania, that keeps you honest. And you always can't forget that a lot of Americans happen to disagree with you. That does not mean that they are fascists or now they want to shred the Constitution.
But when you hear some Democrats saying Trump is acting like an autocrat.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If you actually compare him to an actual autocrat, that is not just that. Now, last night, for example, people were complaining. You know, they were protesting about, oh, that's the Hitler thing. You just don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kinds of extreme things. And now look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, you know, the man was shot. Now we have to turn the temperature down. It's like we can't compare people to these kinds of figures in history. And this is not an autocrat. This is a product of a democratic election.
So you don't think that Trump is at all shattering any of the norms of democracy in any way?
I'm saying he's
shattering the norms of democracy. What the hell? Hold on, wait a minute. Cut my mic on. Yeah, I got my mic on. He's not shattering any norms of democracy. But now that they're doing a trial balloon on the term autocrat, okay? And Fetterman, in his smart way, didn't let him get away with it. It's a little gentler term, but it's something that Trump is not, an autocrat. But he's tying them back to what they were really saying, that he was Hitler, that he was a dictator, and all this other stuff. And they got to abandon that, so they dreamt up this new term, autocrat. So I think Fetterman shot it down pretty good. So I don't know who this guy is. What's his name? Manus? I don't know what I guess he's CNN's new star. But anyway, I'll let it keep going.
Definitely different, but that's what America voted for. Again, I don't agree with many of these things, but that does not make him an autocrat.
But one of the things that I hear from Democrats a lot saying a reason why voters may not like Democrats is because they don't fight hard enough. Democrats should be fighting harder. What do you say to folks who say that?
What exactly is fighting? What is fighting? You know, delay more votes, or just vote every no on everything, or saying, well, if they're doing X, well, then that means it's wrong, that kind of a thing. It's like, what exactly is fighting?
I'll give you an example. It could be shutting the government down. Like some Democrats say, if this happens, it'll be Trump's fault.
That's not fighting. That's mutiny.
We're not fighting hard enough. And Fetterman says, well, what do you mean by fighting? You know, by just saying no to everything? And well, if we shut the government down, it's Trump's fault. That's their other narrative we're working on. Let me see how Fetterman handles that. But anybody with common sense would know that if the government gets shut down, it's because the Democrats are trying to hang on to their illegal alien population and theft, okay?
Mutilating our nation. If you vote to shut our government down, you are going to harm millions of Americans. And why would you do this? Where's our leverage? It was wrong. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. Absolutely, that's true. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. It would just be wrong for us for those things.
Bigger picture, has your party shifted or have you shifted ideologically?
My party is acting in a way they have forgotten. They have forgotten one of the reasons why we lost in 2024. Some of the most extreme things were weaponized against that. And now some people think now we have to double down on those things, or we must become more progressive or more extreme. That's absolutely not true. The 7 or 8 states that are going to determine who's, you know, we have to win in those states. And I understand what that takes. And a lot of these ideas that are now putting back and being reintroduced are not going to carry, you know, Pennsylvania.
Speaking of which, you're talking about
the 7 or 8 states. It's really around 5, I think. But he rightfully said, you know, it ain't going to work in Pennsylvania. If they're going to go back to their old ways. But I think at least 5 of them, I don't see how things can be fair and above board, and for us to get the control of the government that's necessary. Placed under military authority and supervised elections. I don't know how we're going to get to that between now and November, the midterms. I have no idea. Because the ones he's talking about, they're blue states right now, and they're notorious for their fraud and election cheating. But anyway.
What's happening in New York, Zoran Mamdani, Democratic Socialist. He is the Democratic nominee, and polls do say that he is ahead by a significant margin in that race. I mean, is this where your party is headed, and is it a wake-up call to Democrats like yourself?
I don't believe that. New York City is not reflective of our national political things. Certainly the states are going to determine who's going to be the next president. So I don't take any kinds of lessons or anything from that election.
Trump is threatening to send the National Guard into a number of these blue cities, blue states. We're seeing Democratic mayors in Chicago.
He's threatening. Trump is threatening. No, he promised he would send them in if they couldn't keep their act together. He could have said Donald Trump has stated he would send them in. He's got to use the term threaten. But anyway, let me keep playing.
Chicago and in Baltimore. Is that a good idea to fight Trump on this?
No, what I'll say is, like, I experienced that, you know, it's like I live in Navy Yard. I would walk to work, and I would see a lot of National Guard people. It honestly wasn't a big deal. They were friendly. They were standing around, and this wasn't like there were Russian army people. This was, you know, it's our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers kind of a thing. If you actually experience it on hand, on the ground, it's really not like it's not occupied city or anything. So for me, when I was a mayor, as a small town mayor, I asked for help. I asked for help to confront gun violence and crime. If I was a mayor and I had a significant kinds of violence situation, I would be happy to get, you know, help. Honestly, for that.
Should they ask for help?
I've done that.
And do you think they should too? Like Chicago, Baltimore, and the like, they should accept it.
All I'm saying that it's like when 600 people are killed in Chicago once every year, you know, roughly, I think it's entirely appropriate.
Are you comfortable with the way these ICE raids have been carried out in some of these cities?
Not entirely, no. You know, I believe we should have a secure border. And I absolutely believe you should round up all of the criminals. And then I do think you should deport those. But I don't think it's really helpful to raid a factory and round up all of them and deport them. I don't think it's appropriate to go to like a slaughterhouse in Nebraska and round them up and deport them things. That's not true either. You know, I don't think America really...
That's why I said 80%, okay? Because I don't care if they're working in a factory. I don't care if they're working in a slaughterhouse. I can tell you, if there was a diligent investigation of each of those people that were working in factories and the things he's talking about, you would find out they would have an extended family where they're not reporting their income, that they're getting free housing, saying they don't have income. They're getting food stamps because they're saying they don't have income. They're taking American jobs by undercutting and working for less money. But it's being made up for with housing vouchers, heating assistance, cooling assistance in the summer, food stamps, and everything else. But the real theft, our representation in Congress, John Fetterman, and you all are right, the lump is gone. The lump is gone. Maybe he's a stand-in. They sewed in some Dumbo ears on him. Maybe the National Guard was nice when he walked down the street because they thought Godzilla got loose. I don't know. He's a big, scary man. But anyway, that's where they're trying to act like, oh, we want to protect the hard-working illegal immigrant. Oh, but there's so many scams, 6 ways a Sunday. But the biggest one is that they're stealing our country through shifting representation in the Electoral College and in the House of Representatives with their illegal presidents. And on top of that, they're living a damn good life. Living a damn good life on our dime. But anyway, let's keep going. What happened to my video? Hold on. Man, where is he at? Where you at, Walsh? Oh man, don't start it all over again. Let me try to speed it up to where he was. Where in the world was
Never going to change my party, but clearly we've lost the argument, and now be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways. And I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're more extreme. On the ground, it's really not like an secure border, round up all the criminals, but we don't target otherwise hard-working migrants that are just affected.
It wants to cut out at that point. Hold on. You know, bear with me, folks, because I'm curious about this. Why it won't play the point that I wanted to show you.
Never going to change my party, but it
won't play past that. The poison pill was, sorry about that, folks. The poison pill was Gaza, okay? By closing the interview with John Fetterman saying that Gaza was not genocide. Now, I find that interesting because the video shows that it was all recorded, and why it's cutting out at that time, I have no idea. I will try to review that and see if I can do something with it. But anyway, they tried to stick Gaza in there because they know. Fetterman says, I'm not leaving the party. They've been talking about, we need to impeach Fetterman. We need to primary Fetterman. The radicals want to get rid of him. So all the good things that he said, they threw that bucket of dung at the end about Palestine. So anyway, I think the interview did good. You got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere, right? Let me see. Since we're like butter and we're on a roll, let me see. Let me put up some other stuff. What is this? Oh, I got to put up clandestine, because keep this in mind when you're saying to yourself that things are not going the way they should. Let me, got to give me a chance to get this stuff on screen. Oh my gosh, that's not what I want to go over. I wanted to put up clandestine. Where is he at? This is one of it. Let's see. Let's do a thought exercise. Now, you all have heard me say this, okay, in the past. And many of you might say, oh, I'm tired of hearing it. But it's important. So I'm going to repeat it. Plus, we get new viewers all the time. Thanks to my new subscribers. And if you're not subscribed, what the hell's going on? Hit the like button and subscribe. Let's do a thought exercise. Let's say the first day after the inauguration, the U.S. military did no-knock raids and perp-walked Obama, Hillary, Brennan, Comey, etc. How do you think that would have gone? How do you think that would have gone over? Violent gangs, sleeper cells, still embedded. And remember, we haven't really dealt with them yet. Embedded within our walls, with Antifa and radical Islamic terrorist groups still at large, without Trump's people in position, without the public being informed of the treasonous conspiracy, without the wars around the globe being settled. Iran's nuclear capabilities being shut down. All the while, the public are extremely and have been brainwashed, repeatedly brainwashed, to believe that Trump is Adolf, right? Here we go. Let me get the next part up. And you know what that means. About to unleash a... That is the condition of our nation when Trump took office. There's levels to this shizzle. Many variables must be accounted for and many pieces must be in place before we can do something of this magnitude. But if you've been paying attention, you'd see that much of these things have already been taken care of over Trump's first year. And many of us know that many things have been taken care of over the years. I'm more optimistic than I've ever been. And frankly, I don't understand how people don't see what Trump is doing. The price to pay for striking early could result in mass civilian casualties. I maintain it would have. The entire operation will be ruined. The republic will fall to the deep state, and all of us will be tax labor slaves forever. We can't afford to miss. Everything must be perfect, and Trump is putting the pieces into place to make it happen. You all remember my thumbnail the other day with Trump in the chessboard? What did it say? Did I still have it in my studio? It said all the pieces were in place. Oh, I think I took it out of the studio. But anyway, it shows a chessboard with Trump pointing. And that's exactly what we're doing, putting the pieces in place. I've been paying attention to the chats. From the mountaintop, that's right. Anybody new, roll in? I missed. And if we get people coming in, loud-mouthing in the chats or saying things you don't like, do me a favor and don't respond to them. Don't get in a back and forth. And if I spot them, I'll try to reach through their brains. I've done it before. I have had people engage in a decent conversation. So anyway, okay, you guys are having a little chat. That's nice. That's nice. They put this crap up before I went live in my notifications that I don't ask for. Trump says U.S. knocked out, quote, a big facility. And they're talking about he blew the docks up where they were loading drugs. Of course, they put a picture of Trump that's unfavorable. When they put up pictures of Obama in the past or whoever their heroes of the past were, they would take the nicest picture with the U.S. flags behind them, all nice and neat, and they got a smile. No, they always put where Trump has an expression on his face that is less than complimentary. But yeah, Trump did knock out. Is it this one here? A drug facility. Let me see if this is the right clip. Let's see, the two clips with Netanyahu. Oh, no, this is the one where he's talking about what he's going to do with Iran. Iran came out with a public statement, one of their officials, I don't know if it was approved at the very top. But they claim they're in a state of war with America. And you can barely hear the report about what they're asking. I think this is a clip. It's either about the drug docs or what Trump would do if Iran wants to go ahead with starting their nuclear program.
Will you support an attack, Israeli attack on Iran if Iran will not have a deal? If Iran will continue with their ballistic missiles and also nuclear weapons?
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
Yeah, that you can't get any clearer than that. If one's just missiles, yeah, we'll strike them. If it's nuclear, we'll strike them right away. This, I believe, is the comment about the drug docs. Boy, Netanyahu looks a little rough there. I don't know. What do y'all think? But here's talking about they blew up a dock. And, of course, they're putting it in notifications like, he destroyed a big facility. He's taking us to war against an innocent country. He's a president on stolen land.
About the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in the radio interview. Did the military do that? Can you share more details about
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Is that the only strike that the U.S. has done?
I don't want to comment on that.
Yeah, he looked like he dropped some weight, loose around the collar there, and is a little pale looking. I agree. But anyway, Trump said they knocked out a dock area. They're not going to be able to load up at the docks anymore. And I'll just finish this series of clips up with this last one. Asked about Jerome Powell. You know, his term is up in May. He's the nitwit, okay, that is offsetting our tariff revenue by PPing away our money by tossing billions over to the European principalities of old, I'll put it that way, through irrational interest rates. So he is a stick in the mud. But anyway, he's going out in May anyway, and here's what Trump's got to say about it. They're asking, would you still fire him?
You asked Jay Powell to resign from the board entirely?
He'd be a favor to the nation. But he's come close. I mean, we're getting pretty close. I would fire him. I'd love to fire him, but we're so close, you know, maybe I still might.
Will you sell F-35 to the Turkey?
Say it?
Are you going to approve a selling of...
This is January, February, March, April, and then May. So if it's close enough for Trump, like you said, maybe I'll fire him, maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Another thing that Trump put up that plays into what I put in my thumbnail, a picture of Obama. Trump put this up yesterday. I believe he may have posted it twice, but even once is good enough for me. Chris Bjorn put up, one of Obama's most treasonous policies was to fund Iran's nuclear program. Oh, because here we are again, dealing with Iran. All right? Biden and Obama gave Iran over $220 billion to research and build nukes. Iran nearly had 6 nuclear bombs and the ICBM's intercontinental ballistic missiles that would have destroyed Israel and 5 cities in the U.S. Democrats were going to take away our fossil fuels so millions would freeze and starve to death. This was posted by Donald Trump You put that on top of the illness, where they wanted us perpetually staying home, staying safe, wearing masks, shutting down our economy, turning us into a true communist state where you are given ration cards, okay, under the guise of safety. On top of that, they wanted to take away the fossil fuels so millions would freeze and starve to death. Democrats wanted to replace you with uneducated Mexicans. I would say, I wouldn't just put it on them. As we're seeing, Somalians, Haitians, they got tens of thousands of Ukrainians over here, from people from all over the world. Any people with a bent, a psychological, cultural bent towards Marxism, they brought here. Who would be easier to enslave? No, they think they're being free. A worker's paradise. People who vote for Democrats are dumb, and you know what? New York City on a very hot day. You see what's going on there, folks? Not looking good for average Americans. $38 trillion debt, and it's going up. Trade deficit going up. Interest rates going up. Inflation up. Tariffs up. Insanity and crime up. Economy could collapse anytime. Read this novel and learn some survival strategies. I didn't know it was a novel. Go to Amazon, rewards. Oh, they were very close. Donald Trump put this up for a reason. But like I said, you got to make the pill easy to swallow. You can't get people to swallow a cinder block. But unfortunately, that's exactly what we have. A cinder block. Let's see what this is. I'm not sure what this is. Let me see. Washington, D.C., Reuters. U.S. intelligence reports continue to warn that Russian President Vladimir Putin intends to capture all of Ukraine and reclaim parts of Europe that belong to the former Soviet Empire. 6 sources familiar with U.S. intelligence said that's December 19th. Trying to screw up the peace deal. Even as negotiations seek an end to the war would leave Russia with far less territory. The reports present a starkly different picture from that painted by U.S. President Donald Trump and his Ukraine peace negotiators, who said Putin wants to end the conflict. The most recent of the reports dates from late September, according to one of the sources. Well, these sources need to be rooted out, okay? They are part of the eternal war bunch. That was that's what you call an illegal leak. An illegal leak. Trump said that he felt they were on a path. And you think Putin's going to risk what Trump would do by if Putin betrayed a peace deal and started invading countries they owned centuries ago? Yeah, Russia Part 2. A filthy narrative. That's the term I was hoping would be used. That people were spreading a filthy narrative. A filthy lie. Let me see here. Where's Trump with Zelensky, where he said they felt they were close to a deal. And they were in the final stages. I might not have it that handy, but that's what he said, with Zelensky by his side. We're entering the final stages, coming towards an end to this conflict. So anyway, I want to play this. Again, I put my headphones in because I want to be able to hear it. And I hope that this doesn't cut off like that last one did. But I don't know. You know, they were talking about, they were putting a poison pill on Fetterman at the end to anger his support with the Democrat Party. And that's what got cut out. But that's all right. We know what the game is. Anyway, this is Trump with Maria Bartiromo. None of the big three, ABC, CBS, NBC, Trump will sit down with them and talk whenever. And they avoid him. They smear him. They set their own damn narratives. They are the enemy of the people. This president is more available than any president in U.S. history. I remember when Ronald Reagan was in office, they would trip and fall over each other and fight for the chance to sit down and talk with Ronald Reagan. They avoid Trump. And he's got command of every subject, and he'll tell the truth. Anyway, let me go ahead and play this clip of Donald Trump with Maria Bartiromo. I've got my mic in so I can hear better, and I'll go ahead and start playing it.
To go like that, we're at a very rapid pace. We have to make up for a lot of lost time. And the country was very poorly run for 4 years. That you know better than anybody. Nobody covered it better than you, frankly. It's an honor to be with so many great people. We have really great people working with us.
What do you specifically want America to look like in 4 years when you're done?
Well, I want a dynamic country where the private enterprise carries the day, not the government. And I want a strong country militarily. We need that nowadays. You can see that probably better than ever before. So I rebuilt our military. A lot of it was given away to Afghanistan, but it was a lot, but a very small portion, in all fairness. But when you think about the billions and billions of dollars that was just handed over, but I rebuilt it. We're going to be rebuilding it again because we need that. We always need that. But we're doing a series of incentives, tax incentives and other things. The tax bill, I think, is going to be very important. We had record-setting inflation under Biden. It was a killer.
You may
it's
get
one
it
of the
again.
reasons I won the election.
But you may get it again with these tariffs, right? I mean, one CEO said to me, my input costs have already started to go up. I'm going to have to raise prices.
Interest rates are going down. You know what else is going down? What have I been trying to get down?
Oil.
Energy. Energy's going down. I'd love to see energy go down. You know, energy is really what caused it. They screwed up my energy. I had the most energy, and they screwed it up. What I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
And you can't go by that. You have to do what's right. What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future. Tremendous foundation. There are two ways Iran can be handled, militarily or you make a deal. I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me, but we can make a deal that would be just as good as if you won militarily. But the time is happening now. The time is coming up. Something's going to happen one way or the other. I hope that Iran, and I've written them a letter saying, I hope you're going to negotiate, because if we have to go in militarily, it's going to be a terrible thing for them.
You wrote a letter to the Khomeini,
Yes.
the leader? When did you send the letter?
Yesterday.
And you said you better negotiate, or we want you to
I didn't
negotiate?
say you better. I said, I hope you're going to negotiate. And I think
that's the second letter he sent them. Okay, remember the first letter he sent them, and he said pretty much the same thing. I hope they got the letter, and I hope they respond well. And remember what happened.
I think they want to get that letter. The other alternative is we have to do something, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, you were just coming off of one of the most consequential weeks anybody has ever seen, from striking Iran to going to NATO, to announcing 2 deals, and then the Supreme Court victory.
It was a pretty wild period of time, and I really think in 6 months we've taken the country and turned it around.
You went to the Middle East and you strengthened those relationships with all of those countries you just mentioned. Did you have an idea that you would have to do something with regard to Iran?
Well, it was getting a little bit hot, and we knew they had a lot of sites, probably
3 plus the 1. But they had 3 main sites, and we knew they're going to have to either give them up. And I thought we could do it during negotiation, and we just about had it done. And then they said, we want enrichment. These people flew 36 hours in a small space, a big plane, but a small space that was mostly occupied by bombs. And they flew so brilliantly, and they hit a target the size of this circle. A little target, they say half the size of a refrigerator door from 50,000 feet up in the air, going at a rapid speed because they're going very fast when they're over a pretty rough territory. And they hit it every single time. And then they knocked out 2 other sites aside from that.
Aren't you going to have to compromise on something around
I don't
healthcare
know.
subsidies
Here's
to end
the
this
problem.
thing?
They want to give 1.5. They have a deal. We have a deal. We just want an extension. And the reason we want an extension is because you can't make a deal with these people. They're lunatics. They've gone crazy. They're crazed people. Trump derangement syndrome. There really is that disease. At first, I found it to be amusing. Now I find that it really is. They want $1.5 trillion for health care for illegal aliens that come into our country. If we do that, it will jeopardize the health care of the citizens of our country. So we're not going to do that.
And on China, you've got a lot of economic levers to pull.
Now, what do you all suspect? Will there be a shutdown? How is the narrative going to come across? You saw how CNN tried to put the narrative with their interview of Big Ears. What's his name? Trump's fault. Republicans' fault. Now Trump is a lone voice. They won't. The media won't let him come up and say what he just said. The reason they want to shut the government down is because they can't get 1.5 trillion for illegals. That's the reality. Who's going to win the narrative? And is the government going to shut down? And is that one of the triggers, I will say, that may cause the Insurrection Act to be invoked? Hi, Stanton, how you doing? Yeah, I saw somebody earlier said something about rain. I haven't seen rain in. Maybe they'll stop by. Don't worry. But anyway, now we're talking about China. Let's see.
Well, you've got all those.
I have a lot to pull. I don't want to. I'm not looking to destroy China. I'm not looking to destroy China. But, China's taken out trillions of dollars, not hundreds, over the years, trillions of dollars. China has built their military because of us. China has taken out trillions and trillions of dollars. And then I came along my first term, as you know, I took out hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I tariffed China. And Biden left them, except he made so many exceptions it didn't matter. But I tariffed China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And now they forced me to charge them what is the equivalent of 155 to 157%.
It seems like you go so far with China, but you don't sort of use the leverage that you can use. I mean, look.
If I ever had to use it, I'd use it. But when there's no reason to use it, that's good too.
Well, we did just arrest 3 or 4 Chinese nationals who tried to bring a pathogen into the country that gets people sick and destroys food supply. We've got hacking.
You don't know where that came from, though. I mean, did that come from the country, or is that 3 wackos that happened to carry something? You just don't.
Well, there was one that he signed that he would be, one of them signed a paper saying that he would value Mao Zedong's value system. So there was that. And then they hack into our telecom system. They've been stealing intellectual property. They fentanyl, COVID. I mean, all of this stuff. So how do you negotiate with obviously a bad actor and trust them on economics?
You don't think we do that to them? We do.
So
we do a lot of things.
That's the way the world works?
It's the way the world works. It's a nasty world.
And then
boy, that's a little bit of truth that Trump put out there. What we've done to them, especially with things like the C.I.A. Now he's trying to, if you caught it earlier, reduce the notion of panic about those 3 people that came in bringing in pathogens, and we've heard about it. But you know, Trump's on top of it. I have no doubt in my mind he's on top of it. You can tell by the look on his face that he feels he has control of the situation. But he gave Maria a little life lesson that we've been doing our own dirty tricks, not Donald Trump, but the juntas and the three-letter agencies beforehand for many years.
You just do a trade deal?
We do. Well, we made a lot of money with this trade deal. You know, I do a trade deal if it works. We made a lot of money with the trade deal.
You think that China is going to stop bullying companies to give them information in terms of in exchange for getting those rare earth minerals now?
Well, the companies shouldn't put themselves in that position. You know, they really shouldn't. Now, I will say this: China right now needs those companies much more than they needed them 2 years ago. 2 years ago, China could do that. Today, they can't.
Mr. President, I just want to ask you about the job cuts from these companies. Some of them are blaming AI. And one CEO told me that AI, artificial intelligence, allows engineers to be at least 25% more productive. It's helpful in contract management. It's helpful in repetitive jobs. It's helpful in data. What can you do to offset the job cuts that will no doubt come as a result of AI efficiency?
One thing, very simple: bring more companies and more jobs. You know, the truth is we don't have enough people to take care of these jobs. So it's like perfect timing. We don't have enough people. You know, my biggest problem is they're coming in and they have to hire thousands and thousands of workers. This is perfect timing. We don't have enough people. And I had an idea. I said, when you build your plant, you're spending billions. In 2 weeks. I said, Lee, you got to approve this stuff fast. Make sure it's safe, make sure it's good, but you have to get it done fast.
Did you get any sense from Putin that he would be willing or open to the idea of ending this war without taking significant property from Ukraine?
Well, he's going to take something. I mean, they fought, and he has a lot of property. I mean, you know, he's won certain property. If you say that, he's won certain property. We're the only nation that goes in and wins a war and then leaves, you know, like we did under President Bush.
Do you expect an expansion of the Abraham Accords?
I hope to see Saudi Arabia go in, and I hope to see others go in. I think when Saudi Arabia goes in, everybody goes in, highly respected. And the Crown Prince, who's also the Prime Minister, and the king in waiting. His father's such a wonderful man. He's still healthy and he's still very sharp. But yeah, I think that they're going to all go in very soon.
So they've indicated to you a willingness to do so?
Oh, they have, even as recently as like yesterday.
Final question on the surveillance that has gone on. I mean, we've got reports that Congress collected 30 million lines of phone data during the January 6th investigation. They tapped the phones of 8 sitting lawmakers. What can you do to prevent this kind of surveillance? And how high up the chain did this?
I think it started with Obama, with Comey going up and giving me a briefing in 2016, 2015, the end of 2015 and 2016. And then I said to him, who knows about this? He said, President Obama, his wife, and Joe Biden. They sat in the Oval Office talking about it. But it went all the way through. Obama was involved. Biden was involved, everybody. And then they got this guy, deranged Jack Smith, a lunatic. And they...
Right up to the top. That's where I got my, this is the closing part, okay? Where I got the verbiage for my thumbnail. But before we get too far away from it, the thing with China, he was talking about, I believe, a reference to what we brought into the Wu and then Han, okay, LAB, all right? And then they blamed China. Get it? Who brought it into the Wu and then Han, LAB? Anthony Fauci. Anyway, so here we're going to hear about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, and it went all the way to the top. And deranged Jack Smith, the lunatic. And what's going to happen with all of them?
They put him in because he was the meanest prosecutor you could find. He was sort of a failed prosecutor because he failed a lot of, he'd failed because he'd always go too far. And now he really went too far. And we'll see. But you had 8 senators and I guess a couple of congressmen and some other people. But you had, maybe worse than that, you had a House rated of the ex-president of the United States who actually won the second election by a lot.
Were they looking for that report on Russia collusion?
I heard that they were looking because they thought there was a report bad about them. They thought I had it, which I didn't have. I didn't have anything of any merit. But they were looking, and I also had the Presidential Records Act. You know, I had the right to have all this stuff. I had that right to have it. Only the president has that right. The vice president doesn't have that right, but the president does. But they were looking for they thought I had bad things on them because they knew how bad they were.
Do you expect there will be charges that there was a conspiracy
I don't know
against
about charges. You know, I'm allowed to be involved in this. I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. You know that, right? A lot of people say, oh, he's the president. He should. No, I'm the chief law enforcement. I'm allowed to be involved in it, but I haven't chosen to. I think Pam is doing a very good job. I think Cash is really coming onto his own. It's a field that he's very good at. I think they have some people that are very good. We're going to see what happens.
Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign, and he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal, but he started the whole thing, and there were a lot of dishonest people, and I suspect they'll be caught.
I suspect they'll be caught. That's what I've got in my thumbnail. Obama goes straight to the top. And he reiterated that he is the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. And he reiterated some legal facts. And channels like Midas Trash Pail Network and that Glenn Kirshner character, people I've talked about in the past, that have been slandering, libeling, putting forth false narratives about the black letter of the law. I think they should lose their licenses, and many of them, I believe, should be prosecuted. But do you think anybody, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, I'd leave CNN out of there because it's cable. I'm talking about the American airwave. We own those airwaves. ABC, NBC, CBS. Do you think they want him saying that over the airwaves? Of course not. She skipped over it, but he brought it up. I won that second election. He said it over and over again. They stole the damn election. So yeah, that's why they don't want him on there. But we'll play it. And the ostrich liberals, that's what I'll call them, the ostrich liberals. They stick their head in the sand and don't want to listen. They need to start waking up. Here we have Pam Bondi. 10-year stain. Bondi asked prosecutors to probe Obama-Biden lawfare as criminal conspiracy. FBI Director Kash Patel penned a memo predicating something they didn't have, a predicate to raid Mar-a-Lago. You have to have a lawful predicate. Predicating an investigation looking at the weaponization of intelligence and law enforcement power dating to the Russian collusion case and ongoing conspiracy. And being classified as a conspiracy changes the statute of limitations big time. And yes, impatience is not something we need to have right now. We need to be patient. We need to, it doesn't sound like it's possible, but if you know what's really happening, it's time to enjoy the show. It truly is, folks. Let me see here. confirmation of my own thoughts by clandestine. Like I say, I don't agree with everything he said, but he puts it in a concise language for argument's sake. Let's just say the crybaby panikins are right, that Bondi has no clue what she's doing. Trump is owned by the JEWs or something. Nothing will happen and the sky is falling. What action can you take to rectify this? The answer is absolutely nothing. You're going to sit there and wait to see what happens just like everybody else. The only thing you can do is vote for someone new in 2028. Until then, Trump is your president. This is his plan, and the level to which you complain will not impact the outcome one way or the other. Either Trump and his administration will arrest the treasonous actors or they will not. It's not like Trump forgot about Obama and his cronies committing treason and trying to KILL him. Trump doesn't need you to remind him. He literally got shot, indicted, arrested, his home raided, and he's been under attack for 10 plus years. He knows. Our job is not to tell Trump how to do his job. Our job is to wake up as many people as possible and download the public on the unfathomable levels of corruption so that when the time comes for arrests, there is not mass chaos. Remember your mission. How many times have you all heard me discuss this? From the very day I first started posting on YouTube and being guests on other people's shows, that is exactly what I have said. One last post from him. Enjoy the show. Time to enjoy the show. Why do you think Trump signed an EO, executive order, instructing Hegseth to build a, quote, quick reaction force for every state National Guard, all 50 states, quote, trained in crowd control and civil disturbance that can be ready to deploy to U.S. cities by January 1st. Trump is preparing for arrests and the public backlash that will come from the arrests of high-profile individuals. Trump is using the U.S. military to secure the nation before he drops the hammer. The deadline for these troops to be ready for deployment is 3 days. Patience, which I saw earlier in the chats, right? Chairman of the board, Gary, patience. And here's a article that came along. Pentagon orders quick reaction force of 500 troops per state. The National Guard is building a quick reaction force, QRF, of some 23,500 troops, trained in crowd control and civil disturbance that can be ready to deploy to U.S. cities by early next year, according to a leaked memo reported by multiple outlets. The October 8th memo, signed by National Guard Bureau Director of Operations Major General John Burkett, orders the Guard from nearly every U.S. state, Puerto Rico, and Guam to train 500 service members. States with smaller populations, such as Delaware, will have 250 troops in its force, while Alaska will have 350 and Guam will have 100. Task and purpose reported. So it is time to enjoy the show, folks. And nothing can stop what's coming. I only got one post from Midas Trash Pail Network. Look what some creature posted today. Call that civil discussion. lunatics. Some of them are not even worth trying to talk to. Iran seizes oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. I haven't heard anything else about this. Whose was it? A foreign oil tanker moving through the Strait of Hormuz. State media reported Friday. They're going to make themselves a pariah state again. Okay? The Saudis ain't going to like them. The Egyptians ain't going to like them. Nobody's going to like them. They don't like them now. They're going to like them even less. So look for some more sparks to fly about Iran. Here's some Ruski news. Look here, Zelensky. There he is. Zelensky gave an interview on Fox. Brett Baer. By the way, an interesting point. Zelensky, Fox News, that Ukrainians would not support a decision on territorial concessions for the conclusion of peace in Ukraine in a referendum. What did you just hear Trump say to Maria Bartiromo? Putin took over, he calls it property, not land. That's from his real estate days. But he doesn't see him giving it up. He doesn't see why. Why should they? Like he said, we're the only ones that win wars and walk away and not take anything. Every war that was ever won before, it was conquered land. Zelensky, we are interested in Russia returning the money to us and in the form of reparations. It's important for us to obtain funds to rebuild our state. So he wants, like Russia went through years of war, billions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of lives, and they're going to vacate the land that they conquered, plus give him money. That doesn't seem like a realistic way to negotiate. But we shall see, because Donald Trump is in control of the negotiations. Did you all hear? I told you about the Renault plant getting bombed, putting the whole city in darkness. And they retaliated. The Ukrainians retaliated supposedly by striking a large oil facility in Russia. Well, Putin reported to Trump that there was an attack on his residence, Putin's residence, by drones sent from Ukraine. This is according to the Russians' account of the phone call between Trump and Putin yesterday. Trump was, quote, shocked and outraged by the attempt of the Ukrainian armed forces to attack Putin's residence, said Russian presidential advisor Ushakov. According, told Trump that Russia's position will be reviewed in connection with the state terrorism carried out by Kiev. Kiev meaning Zelensky, the cocaine Führer is what they call him. Thank God we didn't give Tomahawk missiles to Zelensky, Trump said in a conversation with Putin, according to the Russian presidential advisor Ushakov. According to Ushakov, Trump said that the attempt to attack Putin's state residence would affect the U.S.'s approach to working with Zelensky. So we see some hardening of positions, but Trump is the author of The Art of the Deal, right, folks? The Art of the Deal. Prosecute Tim Walz. He knew. Remember, knowingly. How many times did you hear Trump say, and also in this last interview with Maria Bartiromo about Obama, he knew, knowingly. Christina Aguaya put this up. Elon Musk called for the prosecution of Tim Walz after a Somali leering center still got taxpayer funds despite known violations. Prosecute Tim Walz. He knew. Why did they still receive funds and keep their license after so many violations and Zoolander level obvious fraud? I call it open and notorious. He calls it Zoolander. That's all right. Whatever floats your boat. Oh, my screen froze. Hold on. There we go. Let me get that off screen. There we go. Let's see, what is this one? Tyler Oliveira, 100 days of your working tax year gets taxed to fund the importation and enrichment of third world parasites that hate you, hate your culture, hate your religion, hate your language, hate your history, hate your heroes, hate your success, and hate your laws. Yeah. Who's behind this? What do they call it? You know what-icidal empathy by do-gooders who feel this guilt. Stephen Miller put this up. As someone said yesterday, there's a better chance that the Minnesota authorities charge Nick Shirley than Tim Walsh over this. That is an interesting statement. Nick Shirley said, time for people to leer the hard way. Leer the hard way. Will anyone be charged over daycare fraud in Minnesota? This is the betting chances. 61% said yes. 39% said no. And Stephen Miller said Nick Shirley would be the one to get charged. Could that be, if he were to get arrested, one of these scroungy Somalians charge him with trespassing or they pull some kind of rabbit out of their hat like they did with Trump, like they did with Tina Peters, like they did with Rudy Giuliani, like they did with any number of people. And they arrest Nick Shirley. What do you think? You think that might cause Trump to say enough of this crap and do an insurrection act? Remember, Washington put down the Whiskey Rebellion. One law, a whiskey tax. They took over a courthouse, and that was enough to have him get the troops together and march. This is an interesting thing up. A crazy influenza is going around. Know a bunch of people down for the count. A cough that keeps you up at night. But for some reason, we aren't shutting down the world over it. Yeah. Don't give him any ideas, Jack. Who's it? Theo Walt. If you're a Republican in a position of power, tweeting about the Somali fraud. We're all tired of the strongly worded tweets, dumb letters, useless subpoenas, and vague platitudes. Prove to us that you actually care about protecting your citizens, naturalizing and deporting Somali fraudsters, and holding the left-wing politicians that enabled them accountable. Exactly right. We need to denaturalize and deport tens of thousands of people that fraudulently call themselves American citizens. Terrence K. Williams said, you should be mad. Every Republican in office should be publicly calling for arrests and indictments. We pay taxes so politicians like Tim Walsh and Somalian immigrants can steal it. If we don't pay taxes on time, we get fined, assets seized, or even thrown in prison. But when $18 billion in tax money is stolen, it's shrugged off and sent to scams and corruption. Congress should issue subpoenas immediately and force answers. $18 billion in fraud is outrageous. Accountability is not optional. And these bastards are talking about shutting down the damn government. Here's Schmuck Schumer. GOP wastes 2-year Obamacare subsidy deal as shutdown deadline nears. Are you people out of your damn minds? If it's such an affordable care act, why the hell do we have to have $1 trillion in subsidies? We didn't have that with our old insurance. Oh, but we didn't have 30 million people coming in here that didn't belong in here. They're living in another world. They're in a dream world. Somebody's going to slap them out of it. Legally speaking, of course. By the way, I want to thank Mike and Bev, and I want to thank Wayne, and I want to thank Angie and Debbie and Roland, and Norm, and Miss Mendersu for going by Buy Me a Coffee and helping out. This is the last week of the month. Oh my, last week of the year. We'll be heading into 2026 in a few days. I'll put a link in the description. If anybody wants to help out with the channel, I appreciate it. I don't know why it didn't show up. And it should work. Let's see if it goes in there. Let's see if it goes in. Anyway, I have a link in the description to buy me a coffee. There it is. At the 141 mark, I put it in. And I appreciate everybody that's helped out in the past. I mentioned I called Gary, chairman of the board, for all the help that he's given this channel. I meant to mention also the first person that ever went to buy me a coffee, Aaron. And his nickname's the Godfather. I don't want to leave people out that mean so much to the channel. Remember Aaron? Maybe you all do. But anyway, he might pop in sometime. I don't know. But anyway, let's see. I had some weird stuff pop in my photos again, which I will look over and maybe talk about in my next broadcast. Strange pictures. But anyway, I wiped out. Somebody's messing with me. It's weird. Anyway, this is Eric Doherty said, just in, shocking footage is resurfacing, catching Somalis dropping their kids off at a daycare for a few seconds just to leave with a child, letting the center take money from the taxpayer for a full day of care. Yeah, they just check in with Junior or little sissy girl. Here, we're here. The parents get kickbacks. Unreal. Oh, so if they get paid $100 a day per kid, they give mom $20 for Junior or Sissy, or maybe $40 for both of them, and they keep the other 180, 160. See how that works? And oh, by the way, do you want to sell your Snap card? Your Me Hungry card? Me No Speaky? What's this one? Oh, this is one that Citizen Free Press put this up. Let's see what it says. The moment you arrive. Let me play it. I don't remember what it was. It's a short clip. Let's see.
Welcome to Minnesota, where every moment is an adventure. From the tranquil natural beauty of our waters to the rich culture of our cities, Minnesota is where unforgettable memories are made.
Go inside now! Get in the house!
Step into friendly neighborhoods that make you feel right at home the moment you arrive. Stroll through vibrant streets, soak in the indulge in a shopping spree at one of our world-class boutiques. And behind it all is strong leadership and inclusive policies that create a place where everyone can thrive. Minnesota, we're ready to be your next adventure.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, we're ready to be your next adventure. You know what I like to do sometimes, folks? I like having sane, attractive young ladies putting their 2 cents in to keep our minds right. Right? Instead of purple-haired nose ring freaks screaming into the camera. So I have a young lady who's got a little something to tell you. And do me a favor and listen to her. Lend her your ear. And I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me, as I always do. And I should be going live maybe tomorrow if something big happens. You never know. But if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. And on Rumble, make sure you hit the follow button and the thumbs up. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy this clip. And I should be going live day after tomorrow. We'll see. But anyway, folks, you all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So people are upset at Nick Shirley because Nick Shirley exposed massive amounts of fraud that's happening in the state of Minnesota. But you're not mad at the people committing fraud. You're not mad at Tim Walz for allowing it to happen. You're not mad because billions of dollars in taxpayer money is not being managed properly. But you're mad at the 23-year-old journalist for bringing it to light. Do what? Oh, there's fraud. We know that there's a lot of fraud, okay? There's medical fraud, there's government fraud, there's state fraud, there's insurance fraud. There's fraud everywhere. But we work way too damn hard to continue to allow it to happen. We do. You're mad about the wrong thing here. You're mad at the wrong person here. And if you can't see that, you're part of the problem.